Yeah, I think there's a lot of good and a lot of stuff to clean up. I'm pretty happy with how the ones operated, pretty happy with how they tackled. I think the 2s and 3s, we got to tighten that up a little bit. We got to, have a little bit more separation on who's going to be those next guys up. We rotated a lot of guys in with the 1, so it wasn't just a pure 1 mix. It was kind of a 1A, 1B mix, and I think a lot of those guys showed great competition. I think there's a few guys that, kind of separated themselves, but there's still a lot of competition at just about every position.
Is there some clarity with the secondary on who your first guys up are?
I don't think so. Like I said, I think there's a couple guys that maybe kind of pulled themselves away and solidified their spot, and there's still a lot of competition. At every position we had, at least 3 corners rotating with the 1s, 3 safeties, 3 nickels, 3 inside backers, and I think a couple guys at every position kind of cleared their way, but there's still a lot of fight, there's still a lot of camp left.
I know Fish thinks a lot of Tommy Hill's potential. Do you see him starting to pick up on some of the nuances and little things that are required too?
Yeah, Tommy, every day he flashes. Every day he makes a great play. Tommy's just got to be a little bit more consistent. Some of that's being new to the program, new to the system, but a little more consistency with him. But he definitely flashes, and you can definitely see what the ceiling is there.
The interior defensive lineman speak highly of Colton and his technique, his technical ability. What have you seen from him this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, Colton Feast is a guy that came in here as a kind of a walk-on guy that not many people outside the program knew about, and he's just worked, and he's put himself in a position to play a ton of snaps this year, whether he gets to be a starter or whether he's the first guy in the rotation. He's done an unbelievable job with technique. He's a powerful guy. He knows what's going on. He has good anticipation of the game, and he can really run for a big guy. He's playing on some special teams for us as well.
How do you go from a guy who's a walk-on to a guy that is going to play big snaps? Like, what do you have to do to put yourself in that position?
I think you just got to show up every day and show everybody that you're better than the guys that we picked for scholarships. And that's happened throughout our tenure with the few different guys. Some of it happens on special teams, some of it on offense or defense. And Colton Feast has just shown that he belongs with the starters and/or that first rotation.
You have an interesting situation with Nash, who hasn't played a lot of snaps in college football, and Stephon Wynn, who hasn't played a lot of snaps in college football. He's with a different team. How are the two of them sort of competing? I think we all kind of sense Ty Robinson may be a little bit above both of them, but how are the two of those guys competing in the same position spot?
Yeah, those guys are both competing. I think Nash has got a little better grasp of maybe the system. He can play a little faster. Stephon's still picking it up a little bit. Both those guys play with good technique. Both those guys are intelligent football players. That's going to be kind of a good battle to watch here as the next couple weeks of camp unfold and we get into another scrimmage, just to kind of see once they're kind of equals with knowledge and grasp of what's going on, who's going to jump out and take that spot.
What's the biggest thing that Nash did in the last 6 months or so to get himself in this position?
Yeah, I think Nash, you guys see the videos. He's always had a lot of strength, a lot of power. Nash's lateral movement, his quickness, his change of direction has drastically increased over the last, probably since the season stopped till now. So that's what I'm really pleased with what he's done. Just his ability to move around a little bit better. Before it was just, if you were in one gap or in a 2-gap mode, he was good. If he was getting on the move and doing those types of things, probably wasn't the right defense for him. Now he's able to operate in all the calls.
What do you make of Stephon's athletic, physical profile?
Yeah, I mean, he's what you're looking for. He's 6'4", he's 300 and whatever now, 5 to 15, 305 to 315. Long arms, that's what you're looking for as one of those interior defensive linemen. Once again, he's got good technique. He was coached well. He's got good football intelligence. He's just kind of catching up to the language that we're speaking. Probably very similar in structure, in technique, just different language for him to catch up to.
How do you feel about O'Shawn Mathis's progress in camp, and what's that picture look like to you now?
Yeah, that O'Shawn's done a great job. I thought O'Shawn had a really good scrimmage. He's different structured defense for him. He was off the ball a lot last year, it seemed. So he's had to play a little bit more, true defensive end for us, which he's done a great job responding to Coach Dawson. He's picked up everything. He's really a big-time effort guy, and he showed up yesterday at the scrimmage. So it's really nice to have guys on the edge. You already have Caleb and Garrett. Now you throw O'Shawn in the mix, and then Jamari Butler and Blaze Gunnarsson have had tremendous camps as well. So that's going to be really good to have a good rotation on that edge.
Can you move him around? Can you move O'Shawn around a little bit?
Yeah, right now I think that he's kind of playing one spot on the defensive end for us. I think because of the knowledge of the system, we've been moving Garrett and Caleb just a little bit more around to make some of those packages. And I think O'Shawn's a really good edge rusher, so we want to give him as many opportunities as we can to get him on the edge.
I don't know what you can say to Devin Bruce's status, but just in general, what's the trick of a guy if he comes in you're in the middle of camp and that challenge, I guess, before him and you?
Yeah, I think the challenge with that is, we know Devin's a good football player. He's started a lot of football games at Texas Tech. He's a real bouncy guy. We've known him since he was at Iowa Western. The trick with him is going to be getting him in here, teaching him what we can teach him, and then when he's in the game, if he's in early, we may have to package those calls a little bit to get the stuff that he can operate with. But I think it's going to fall on all of us, myself, Coach Dawson, some GAs, to put in extra time with him as soon as he can get on campuses and eligible to be in meetings.
When are you thinking of him?
When?
Yeah.
I hope ASAP. It's all going through stuff way over my head, clearing him with academics and getting him into school and all those kind of things.
When you were watching O'Shawn at TCU, what did you think of his run defense specifically?
I know Coach Applewhite was there, and the film is the film, but also you're talking about a guy that saw him every single day, and knowing that Coach Applewhite thought he was going to be a really good fit for what we do on defense, and we thought that what we do, he would operate really well in the run game, and so far he has. He's been a really good job at 5 technique, 6 technique, 9 technique, really giving us a good presence on the edge in the run game. So far I'm really pleased with what he's done there.
Where do you feel like you guys are on the path from holdovers and transfers into that kind of one team mindset? Where are you guys on that spectrum, would you say?
Well, I think as college football moves forward, the way it's kind of is right now with it's a little bit of wild west and free agency. So I think you're going to constantly be getting new pieces in and probably some pieces out just by the nature of the game now. So I think it's come together really nicely. I thought that the guys that we brought in, whether they be new guys, junior college guys, transfer guys, have done a great job of meshing with the current players, and the current players have done a great job accepting them and meshing them with the team. So I'm really pleased with where we're at in that facet.
Coach Bush has mentioned that a lot of the assistant coaches have been super helpful on special teams, but he named you specifically. Why is that important to you as a defensive coordinator to help out with that unit too?
I think that, to me, like, special teams is a third of the game, right? And when we operate on special teams, it's much easier on the defense, right? When we punt it and pin them deep, when we flip the field, when we can get a good kickoff down there, when we can score points, all those types of things, that all helps the defense, it helps the whole team. Also, I want the defensive players to understand how important it is to be on special teams. So for me to coach a drill, to coach a position, to be in the meetings, to help out, I think that sends another message to our defense that this is important and we need to operate. Also, we're telling the defensive players, hey, there might be a 1 and there might be 2 and 3 and it might be close, but if you're the 3 and you're on 4 special teams and you're the 2 and you're on 0, this guy is now the 2 because we don't have seats on the bus. Big Ten only allows us to take so many players, so those backups have to be core 4 special teams guys or they might not make the bus trip.
What's the overall attitude and health of the team, as you guys start week 3? And I would assume at this point in time, maybe the newness of fall camp is worn off and maybe in the thick of it.
Yeah, I think that, Coach has got a great schedule for camp, and guys are getting rest at the appropriate times, and we're working really hard at the appropriate times. So I'm really pleased with the way the guys are operating. You can't get bored at doing the normal stuff exceptional. You just can't. And I think that these guys have handled that piece of it really well. Knock on wood, we've had some nicks and bruises, but we haven't had anything, catastrophic on defense yet. So happy with both those, health and the attitude of the guys.
Feel like enthusiasm is still at a pretty good level?
I do. And, part of that's driven with the way the install is set up, where they're continuously getting new stuff, new packages, new calls, so that they don't get bored running the same stuff we ran on day 1. We're constantly installing so that they've got a good grasp of things we might want later down the season, but they also get something fresh every day.
I know you said that you want to see the defense take a step up by maybe trying to get some more
Yeah, in the scrimmage, I think we had a couple shots to get some balls out that we didn't get out. We did get a couple interceptions, so that was great to see. And I think the guys are rushing the passer really well right now. So I think that as that all comes together, you have to be an opportunistic defense, right? You have to run to the football. And right now our guys are really running to the ball. And when those balls get tipped up in the air, whether a receiver bats a ball and it's not quite there, or the DB tips it up, or a linebacker gets a hand on it, we're getting a lot of those right now. And it's lucky, but it's not lucky because they're running to the ball, you know what I mean? And when you run to the ball, good stuff happens.
A lot of camp down, a lot of camp last 19 days until season opener. What else do you need to see for the next couple of weeks?
We've got some situational work to still get in. I'd like to continue to work on our low red zone stuff, some of our third down package. We've got to get some end of the game stuff yet. A few of those situations and a few things need to get installed with those packages. So I'd like to see those things get in and everybody get operating at a high click with that. Also, we've been stressing communication, both pre-snap, post-snap. The guys are really good right now at talking through the situations while they're on the field, down in distance, where they're at, what the situation is. Maybe if coaches got the scoreboard operating and those types of things. So I'd like to see that get raised up a little bit.
How do you feel about how's the nickel shaping up right now?
Yeah, I think right now there's three guys that are all running with the ones. Isaac, Javen Wright, Chris Kolarvik, and I think those guys are doing a really good job. I think it's going to be really hard to see who's going to be the starter, but I think you're going to see all those guys are going to earn the right to be on the field. And I think those guys need to play a huge impact in special teams too, because we've got three legitimate guys that can all play there, so we can keep those guys fresh and then they can operate on the special teams as well.
Javen must have hit the ground off the sprint then to be in that mix.
Yeah, Javen's he's a student of the game. He's been in every meeting, even when he's been hurt for the last 2 years. He asks good questions. So I knew that he would be able to function when he got out there. It was just a matter of can he physically do it, and so far he's been able to.